All in Sports Network. We love sports.
This is All In Horns, your daily fix for all things Texas Longhorns. And the Texas Longhorns have just put to pass on the Texas A&M Aggies 27-17. This is brought to you by Rogue Sports Network. I'm Tanner Carlson. That is Jake Jimerson. And Texas beats the Aggies. Another top 10 win in the notch of Steve Sarkisian in this 2025 Texas Longhorns team. Arch Manning is the man. Jack Injury showed up big. Trey Wisner showed up big. The defense showed up big. Marcel Reed is a bust. Calling it now. He's a bust, not a Heisman. He will don't ever put his name and Vince Young in the same sentence unless you're saying Vince Young was 10 times better than Marcel Reed.
Oh, it's more than 10 times.
And Aggies claiming that they had their Vince Young. They can go kick rocks. Go kick rocks. This was an awesome win for the Texas Longhorns. This was a lot of fun. Spoiled the undefeated season of the Texas A&M Aggies. And guess what? You don't get to go to the SEC championship game unless you have to go through the Texas Longhorns. And that's what happened. A&M does not just get a free ride to the SEC championship game. If they want to go to the SEC championship game, they have to come through the Texas Longhorns year in and year out. And it ain't happening, folks. It ain't happening.
Just
Jake,
year in and year out, the Aggies will lose. When they come play against Texas, it's going to be a little bit of belt to ass. Every single year. I had my wife bring me this. Right when you start recording, I was like, hey, can you bring me a belt? She gave me a bewildered look when she came down, like, why do you need a belt?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't need to make sense. But the Aggies will not ever make an SEC championship without having to go through the Texas Longhorns first and foremost.
The funniest thing is I've already seen them going 11-1 and we don't make an SEC. Well, yeah. You played the entire bottom half of the SEC, finally played a team with a pulse that you've been saying was shit all year, and lost to them. And Texas didn't even play in the first half.
You literally could not have had a worse conference schedule. Literally could not have had a
other than if they didn't have Texas and had Kentucky instead. That's quite literally the only way.
The only way it could have happened. And this is the Texas Longhorns letting them know you got to come through Big Brother's house if you want to leave the yard in an SEC championship appearance, and they're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. They will make the playoffs. They're going to be a playoff team. They'll be a 6 or 7 seed or a 5 seed, and Sark gave his little pitch of if Texas is going to make the playoffs. Here's my caveat to that, Jake. If Texas is going to make the playoffs, they have to be a 12 seed. A&M has to be the 5 seed. And I want to see a rematch in A&M. That's the only way I'll allow it.
Just go back to back on them. I would say they could never recover, but let's be honest, they would just be talking trash as soon as like the season was over and it ended. Even if Texas won a national championship, they would still just be like, next year's the year, because they never learn. The fact they couldn't beat this Texas team when this was A&M's best team they've ever had.
Ever.
And they couldn't beat a Texas team that had fatal flaws that on paper were going against A&M's biggest strengths. And in the first half, that showed up a lot. But you got to give credit to Steve Sarkisian. I thought he called a great game in the second half. You can nitpick here and there, sure. But overall, he called a great game in the second half. The goal line play, that Jets, man, that little sweep to Townsend, no way. Obviously, they were not prepared for that. And that was just such a great tendency breaker, and not trying to just slam your head into the wall or do a play action pass and get sacked. Just kind of left not much. And guess what? That was a play that was going to the edge, which I didn't really have a problem with the idea of going to the edge, but that's how you do it in the goal line. You kind of catch them off guard. And Texas just, that was a lot like the Red River game. They struggled in the first half. It was ugly at times, and then they came together and figured it out. And Arch Manning, once he settled in, was excellent. He was a little
Uncle
the crowd
Rico.
was loud. It was electric. You could tell he got a little frazzled, but this was the progression, right? He got frazzled against Ohio State in that first game, but he never was able to get it right. He got it right in this game.
Wasn't this the perfect kind of, I don't know what the word, I know there's a word out there for it, metaphor.
Encapsulation.
It encapsulates Arch's entire season in this game. Arch started off pretty rough, had a rough patch, just looked very Uncle Rico, looked frazzled, really couldn't figure it out. And then towards the second half, it was that Wingo pass, which I thought he sailed it, man. I thought he sailed it to Wingo wide open in the end zone.
Hell of a catch by Wingo.
It was a great catch by Wingo. Brought it in.
NFL catch. He got both feet in.
Did he? I thought he got a pinky
that
toe
second
out.
foot, it looked like it was in. I'll have to go back and watch. I'm going to say it's NFL coach for the catch for the sake of the podcast. I think it was in, but
I thought it was. I thought maybe his like toes were barely out, like right on the line. It would have been an interesting challenge in the NFL, but without a doubt, no doubt about it. Once he made that throw to Wingo, it was game on for Arch Manning. And then obviously we had a couple of big breakout runs by Wisner. One of the strangest running games I think I've ever seen. I've never seen a more boom or bust type running game for a team in my entire life.
It was 9+
yards
or it was negative. There were no 4-yard rushes. It felt like it was a big run play or it was a awful run play.
Yeah.
And there was no in between. But I knew Arch was dealing when all the pressure's on the offense. He steps up past that sack, does a little shoulder shimmy to avoid getting any contact, then just layers a perfect ball into Jack Andres on a crosser, by the way, Jack Andres, I mean, this was his appearance game. This was the game where he showed out for the first time all season. What a game for it to be. But Arch just really settled in, and then, man, he is just fast. He's flat out just fast.
Yeah.
That touchdown run, I thought surely he was going to get caught. He needed to score on that play.
Because he gained ground. He gained.
Yeah, I couldn't believe the secondary guys were at full speed when Arch was trying to get to full speed. And then as soon as he got to full speed, he was gaining yards on him. Like you said,
he was getting separation on the nearest defenders, and they were secondary guys.
And Arch just continued to. I don't think people realize that the offensive line didn't improve that much this year. Arch just kept getting better at dealing with it. Now, did the offensive line get a little better? Yeah, they weren't as bad as they were against Florida the whole year, obviously, because Texas would have several more losses. But at the end of the day, this season will more than likely be viewed as a disappointment at the end of the day. But like I was telling you before we recorded, and this is what pisses me off so much about when people were trying to say Sarkisian was Tom Herman this year, which I saw a lot of people saying, which is dumb no matter what. Even if Texas went 8-4, it was dumb. But this is the perfect example of why it's different. In a year that Texas had a lot of holes that should have been caught in the transfer portal, in a year where Texas had a lot of issues on the field, Sarkisian had some issues himself at times as a play caller. They still figured it out enough to go 9-3 and have 3 wins against top 10 teams, 2 of which are your rivals.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Mac Brown didn't have a winning record against OU, and is OU as good now as they were then? No, but this is the best A&M's ever. These last 2 seasons are the best seasons A&M's ever had. Texas has beat them at their crib and now at our crib. And that, to me, is why it's so disgusting to put Steve Sarkisian in the same sentence as Tom Herman, unless you're saying, wow, Steve Sarkisian is so much better than Tom Herman.
Or even the James Franklin thing, because people are throwing out the top 5 wins. Well, guess what? He just added another top 5 win, but he's got 3 top 10 victories this season.
Yeah, which James Franklin has never done.
Only one coach has done it. What was it? The 2019 LSU?
Well, it's the first time since 2019. I'm sure it's happened before then. I'm sure there was some Alabama teams that did it back when the SEC West was really good. But all that to say, this season will still be viewed as ultimately as a disappointment, and a lot of it obviously because of that Florida loss, and we can get into that later. But this team figuring it out throughout the seasons, the coaches never giving up, the players never giving up. It's the definition of Texas fight, and you felt like they were going to let this go in the fourth quarter. You know, we talked about Texas's fourth quarter struggles. You know, in Vanderbilt and Georgia, they were outscored 42-0 in the fourth quarter, and you sit there in the fourth quarter. You know, you get 3rd and 21 game. You should be able to end the game on that play essentially, and you do just the dumbest face mask penalty, and you sit there and you go, uh-oh. And then you go right down the field and score a touchdown. You go, that's the play. That's the play you're going to remember for all offseason. That was the game-changing play. And what does Texas do? They outscore A&M in the fourth quarter, 14-7. Go right. Arch Manning in the offense goes right down the field and responds. And that was when I was like, this team just continued to figure it out. Because did they let the game get away at Georgia? Yes. Were they a much better home team than road team this year? Yes.
They were.
But at the end of the day, they found ways to get some really big time wins this season. And this game to me was, like you said, an encapsulation on the entire season. Because there was a lot of ups and downs in this game. I once again saw the fire Sarks in the first half. And Texas was quite frankly lucky to only be down 7 at halftime. But whenever you get those opportunities, you got to take advantage of them. And Texas came out and dominated that second half.
Yeah. Blocked a field goal in the first half. That was a huge play. Was able to get a couple of stops where, you know, and people are going to point at penalties. Yeah, okay, big whoop. A&M got away with multiple DPIs in that first half against, Ryan Wingo, and I think it was one against DeAndre Moore as well, where Texas should have at least had 30 yards of given offense compared to the for the penalties that were had. And so third down efficiency, Jake, both of these two teams, 4 of 13 first downs, both of these two teams, 19 first downs. Total yardage, Texas outgained Texas A&M by 60 yards. Passing, 180 to Texas's 179, only 1 yard of an advantage for Texas A&M. Interceptions, obviously, turnovers were a huge thing at the end of that game with 2 back-to-back picks from Michael Taft and for Kobe Black. Kobe Black, by the way, played the best game of his career for the Texas Longhorns.
Before the interception, too. That's not just
before
a reaction
the interception.
To the interception.
We had said that before the interception, and then all of a sudden he has the game-clinching interception. Penalties, it was Texas A&M 8 of 62 yards, Texas 7 of 78 yards. So Texas still had more yards with one less turnover or one less penalty. Obviously, turnover is the big turning point. 2 picks for Marcel Reed, 0 turnovers for Texas. Time of possession, Texas A&M 32 to Texas's 27 and 45 seconds. So, I mean, it was about as evenly matched a game as you could possibly have, whether that be through the air, through the ground. Again, those 2 turnovers were huge for Texas, and those couple of stops, whether it be the 2 picks, but the blocked field goal, that's 3 possessions where Texas A&M was possibly in scoring position that could have put points on the board that Texas's defense or special teams denied Texas A&M from getting and essentially won them that game.
Yeah. The second, I mean, the first half A&M kind of, I thought, was the much better team. And then the second half, Texas was the much better team. And if anything, A&M was lucky to have the penalties be close. Like you said, I don't want to see a single A&M fan say shit about the referees. I saw one A&M fan go and one of their edges was getting held a bunch. I was like, dude, Colin Simmons could submit just the game tape to the SEC and ask, why were there no holding calls against me the entire game? So I don't want to hear the excuses. And now, you know, it's so nice because it just, all the speculation that A&M was frauds just came to fruition when they finally played frauds. A team.
They're complete frauds. You know why, Jake? Because they have talked smack for Texas over the last 2 seasons. 2 years we've heard, well, Texas has a cupcake schedule. They don't play anybody. Well, guess what? We're in the same conference as you, buddy. What happened? How do we have such a worse conference schedule than you guys do? Well, then it flipped this year, and they didn't know it was going into the season. Obviously, with South Carolina and LSU and teams like that, they thought they had a much more difficult schedule in the conference than Texas had. Texas had to play 5 top 10 ranked teams in the country won more than they lost, including your own top 3 team, Texas A&M, and you didn't play a single team that was ranked in the top half of the conference. You didn't even play a team that was in the top half of the conference. So I don't want to hear this little cupcake schedule, SEC so tough. Oh, they've been down the last 2 years, and it's lucky that when it's just so convenient that when Texas joins the SEC, it's whenever the SEC has been the most down it's been in 20 years. Fuck off. Dude, I don't want to hear it anymore. I'm tired of the excuses. I'm tired of the crybaby wah, wah, wah. It's been 2 back-to-back years. Mike Elko punts the ball. He takes a delay of game penalty on 4th and 1 near the 50-yard line, and he should have gone for it. He decides to take a delay of game and punt it. What a bitch. He's a little baby back bitch. There's nothing else I can say about it.
He was having PTSD from 4th and 1 last year. That's what that was.
That's what it was. That's exactly what it was. But he should have gone for it. There's no way you should have punted that situation. But guess what? Your coach doesn't have the stones to go for it and win these types of games.
And by the way, I just saw a stat I got to bring up immediately for those Steve Sarkisian haters. Texas has not swept all 3 of their rivals in back-to-back years since 1969 the 1969 to 1970 seasons.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, and you know, that's whether that be OU, Texas Tech, Texas A&M, whether that be Texas or OU, Arkansas, Texas A&M. Obviously, they're referring to Arkansas in this situation. But yeah, it's a big season, and for Arch to be undefeated against Texas A&M, Arkansas, Oklahoma, for him to be 3-0 against those teams in a season what is considered to be a down year for Texas. By the way, people, this is a down year for Texas. It's a down year. We have 3 top 10 wins. Get ready for next year. I'm already ready for next year. It's going to be a better year. Texas is going to be back in the playoffs next year, without a doubt, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine Texas is still going to be very aggressive in the portal. And now you have an Arch Manning who's proven. Now there'll be warranted hype with it. And he wasn't perfect tonight by any means, but things around him were not great. Once again, and he found a way. Yeah, the offensive line was bad again tonight. I would give them a failing grade. The offensive line played a losing game. Outside of some moments and run blocking. But Wisner, man, he has a switch that just clicks on against A&M and OU. I wish that switch clicked on every game. But if he's playing
8 quarters against Texas, Jake, how many touchdowns does Marcel Reed have against Texas?
Oh, it's still at 0, isn't it?
It's still at 0.
Oh, that is man.
8 quarters played against this Texas team. He has 0 touchdowns.
Hey, they took some baby steps this year. They got a couple touchdowns.
They got in the end zone.
They were able to get, to 17 points this year. That's a big stride for little brother. And you gotta pat him on the head and say, good job, little guy. And maybe next year you'll score 3. I doubt it, but maybe.
Maybe it's a possibility. Probably
you'll still lose, but hey, maybe you'll get 3 touchdowns next year. Get one in garbage time or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm. Whether Texas gets in the playoffs or not, very unlikely. But this, like we said going into the week, this game still meant something because Texas needed to win it to feel like he had that upward trajectory going into the offseason.
And it's a rival. I always want to beat A&M.
You stopped A&M from having their first undefeated season. You stopped them from going to the SEC title game, which they're not going to because their schedule was so weak. Yep. You have them questioning their entire season now.
Yeah,
they're sitting there going, well, we're at least going to be in the playoffs, but also in the back of their heads. And I've seen some of them outwardly. The ones that haven't made their accounts private, because I was going through my bookmarks, and I kid you not, there is at least 9 or 10 of them where it's like this user has only allowed their followers to see their post or whatever that message says. Just absolute cowards.
It's pretty on brand.
What was that A&M? What did that A&M player say about Texas stomping on the field last year after the game? Cowards do what cowards do. Yeah. A&M are cowards, and cowards do what cowards do as a program, as an athletic department, as an institution, as an academic institution, as a fan base, as a coaching staff, and as all their players. Cowards.
All right, Jake, I think that's a perfect spot to allow Underdog to have their spot, and we'll give a quick little update on what our weekend looked like with our Underdog. We didn't have an all in horns spot of the week or entry of the week, but
Oh
that's
no,
okay.
I think we had a ticket with Cowboys money line winning, Texas money line winning,
We had.
Texas women's basketball beating the number 3 and number 2
We
teams in the
we
nation.
need to mention a little bit of that as well.
Texas
whenever we
men's
come out with
basketball picking up their first ranked win. We had all of that in one ticket. It's a huge winner. Sorry we didn't get it on air.
We just didn't. We weren't able to get it out there for you people.
Football is back, and Underdog is the best place to make picks and win money all season long. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, receiving yards, interceptions, and more. Get your picks right, and you could win up to 5,000 times your cash. You can play with as little as $1. Download the app today and sign up with promo code HORNS to score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code HORNS. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog, make picks, win money. Must be 18 and up. 19 and up in Alabama, Nebraska, 19 and up, and in Colorado for some games. 21 and up in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia. And must be present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 HOPE line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. That's 467-369. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details.
Underdog has had an incredible Thanksgiving Day or Thanksgiving weekend, really, promo where they've got a 60% profit boost on your entries. I used mine today, put a $5 entry on this right here. I had the North Texas Temple game hitting the over, which it did at 62.5, hit it at 77. North Texas scoring 52 of those, by the way. I had the Blake Shapen higher than 219.5 passing and rushing yards combined. He was a scratch. He was an omit right from the kickoff. Didn't play. Didn't even show up for senior day. So don't even know what happened there with the Blake Shapen Egg Bowl situation. But and then I had Marcel Reed higher than 26.5 rushing yards. That hit. He had 65. Had an Arch Manning higher than rushing or receiving touchdown. That hit with the big 38-yard touchdown run. And I was 8 yards short. KC Concepcion higher than 64.5 receiving yards. He had 57. Not sure how it's going to play out. Sometimes they give you a little bit of something, a little thing to wet the whistle on if you get the team picks correct, which I did do. So I don't know where that's going to be, but that was a 20.2 times entry with the 60% profit boost on Thanksgiving. I highly recommend this weekend. Keep checking your Underdog app and seeing what those boosts are available in your area. Some may vary depending on where you're at in the country, but they've got some big time holiday giveaways with their profit boost, and you can put very little money down with a big payout. Jake, anything on your end?
I didn't really get much in this week. Just with Thanksgiving, we had to travel a bunch. I haven't looked at the weekend slate yet. I literally got home and it was pretty much time for the Texas game.
Yeah.
So I don't unfortunately really have any updates on the Underdog side, but I will be getting some tickets in for the weekend, of course, but I just didn't have time during the week.
No worries. All right, Jake, let's talk about some Texas Longhorn news. Big weekend for the Horns athletic department. The women's basketball team, they win over the number 1 and number 2 team in the country in back-to-back days in the Player Eras tournament. They beat UCLA, the number 2 team, and then they go and play in the championship game against South Carolina, the number 1 team. They take them both down. They're on a championship run. They win the Players Era tournament. on the women's side of the bracket. And then the men's on the flip side of it, a disappointing loss. It was a very good game against the Arizona State game to start the Maui Invitational. It was an unfortunate loss, but again, it was such a good game. And of course, it was kind of a buzzer beater type game, but you got to make your free throws. Got to hit your free throws. You hit your free throws, you probably win that game. A big time learning lesson for the men's side, but they do get a ranked win. Unfortunately, on volleyball side of things, Jake, they get to the SEC championship game against Kentucky. They go up 2 sets in a best of 3. They are up 24-19 in the third set. Kentucky comes back. They win 3 straight, and they win the best of 5. And Texas is runner-ups in the SEC tournament. Still going to the national tournament. That should light a little bit of a fire under them. And I wouldn't be surprised at all, Jake, if we saw a Texas-Kentucky Final Four or Texas-Kentucky championship game or series. And so anyway, a lot happened over the weekend since we last recorded, and some big-time recruiting news as well on the football front.
Yeah, flipped. Did we do the running back from Georgetown? I'm not sure if we had talked about yet. And then the linebacker from Cal. I don't have the names on the top of my head right now.
The offensive lineman from, I think, Minnesota.
Yeah, and then but Texas did have an offensive lineman flip during the game.
Yeah,
3-star Max Wright flipped to SMU. He was going to not be on the field for at least 2-3 years. So I mean, it's not a huge loss ultimately, but obviously still worth mentioning. Just an incredible week for us. I mean, Dallas Cowboys have beaten the Eagles.
Since we last spoke to anybody, we've had the Dallas Cowboys beat the Eagles. We've had the Dallas Cowboys beat the Chiefs. And we've had the Texas Longhorns beat the number 1 and number 2 team in women's basketball, a ranked win on the men's basketball side of things, and then a win over Texas A&M, the number 3 team.
And volleyball avenging their loss to A&M, beating them 3-1 in the SEC tournament to get to the championship game. Man, what a week.
Great sports week.
It felt like going into this game as like things had been going too well. It comes crashing down tonight.
Like
and it
that
just
tower, baby. Keep that tower lit. Keep it lit.
It just kept going. And DKR was incredible. Other than season ticket holders who sold their tickets, there were still too many Aggies in the. Just shame on you.
Shame.
If you're gonna sell your tickets, sell them. Go on X. Go on a Texas forum. Sell them to Texas fans. Don't let the opposing teams get them. There's too many A&M fans.
They'll just put on SeatGeek and let A&M fans take over.
If you're doing it for a game against Mississippi State, whatever, just sell it on SeatGeek. Get your top dollar back. But when you're playing A&M, when you got the marquee games, even if Vanderbilt this year,
have season tickets and the best game on the schedule is Texas A&M, why are you not going to that game regardless?
Yeah, I mean, maybe traveling for Thanksgiving or something. That it is weird with it being the day after Thanksgiving, but get those tickets to a Longhorn fan. Too many Aggies in that stadium tonight. Now they had all left, just like they had left their stadium last year. They left our stadium this year before the game had ended. I never understood that stupid thing they were doing where they're like the chants, and they'd be like, did you ever see that? They are all over social media about the Marcel Reed chants, the chants. They're giving us chills. And so I was having some fun with that tonight. Yeah. It's just another goofball thing that they do.
They're just goofy. Yeah. There's nothing else to really say about them.
But yeah, having fun with the Aggie fans tonight. And it makes it better that they really don't have a single marquee win to point to outside of a Notre Dame game early in the season when Notre Dame's defense couldn't stop anyone. And they got out of it by some questionable officiating and a missed extra point. And
hey, I got everything I need to get off my chest in this game. And I had a lot of pent up just aggravation and aggression towards A&M. And a little bit towards this Texas team that I kind of got to exercise a little bit of those demons on this podcast here specifically. It helps when you beat OU. It helps when you beat Texas A&M. I don't care what anybody says about college football and that it's all just a business now. There's no loyalty in this game. the games don't mean as much with a 12-team playoff and transfers and NIL and all that crap. Absolutely not. It still feels just as good to beat the Aggies as much as it did 15 years ago, 20 years ago. It still feels just the same whenever you can beat them down at your own home field, especially when it's to prevent them 2 years in a row to get to the SEC championship game. I love it. And it excites me. It pumps me up. It gets me ready for next year. This is the best I've felt watching football it's been a while because I got the Cowboys on the other side that I'm riding a 3-game winning streak on as well. And then I've got this going on over here. My sports life right now, I just feel like a winner, and it doesn't happen very often. And I'm just trying to just remember what this feeling is like going into next year because they just wet my whistle. Now I'm just ready for next season. I'm just ready to go. Screw the playoff. Don't care about the playoffs. Probably not going to watch. I'll watch all of it. Who am I kidding? But don't care about it as much. Texas will probably be in a bowl game. They'll play in the Frisco Bowl or whatever it is. And they'll hopefully win that game, get a 10-win season under their belt, hit the transfer portal, and get a good recruiting class under their belt on signing day and get ready for next season. And it'll be a good time. And we'll have Ohio State at home. No, wait. Do we have Ohio State at home this year?
Yeah, it's Ohio State, and then they go back to Michigan if they keep those games.
I knew the Ohio State-Michigan thing was a little weird.
It was weird because of the timing of switching to the SEC. There was something about network scheduling, which doesn't make sense to me because they're both Big Ten, but whatever.
Yeah.
Texas will have Ohio State next year. Hopefully not week 1. Hopefully they can get them week 2.
It'd be nice if it was week 2 or week 3. Yeah.
I think the game will be higher quality in general because the game wasn't very high quality this year from either offense because, Ohio State's offense, but I guess the only other thing
I think that game would probably be better in general because you're both going to have returning quarterbacks coming in.
It'll be better in general next year, no matter what. But having it week 2 just helps. Week 1 games in college football are always sloppy. There's no preseason, so you just kind of just coming out after only practicing against yourself. But the only other thing I was going to mention was I got to give props to the defense for this game because I had been on them for the last several weeks, and rightfully so. I'm not backing off my reactions to how they were playing in the previous weeks.
30-plus points.
But they came out tonight and played really well. They got stops. They made turnovers at the end to seal the game because it was looking like A&M was going to make it stressful. It looked like they were going to score a touchdown, then have a chance to get a stop and get the ball back. Or at least get a field goal and then get a stop and get the ball back. And then Michael Taff on senior night comes up with the big interception. And then Kobe Black finishes his best game as a Longhorn, his best game in his collegiate career, off with an interception to seal it. And that is just the perfect way. Then A&M's defense just folding and giving up officially, letting Wisner run all over them on that last drive to completely allow Texas to kneel it out. Just a pretty damn perfect fourth quarter outside of that one drive where you did stop him. You just had a stupid face mask. And I get it. It was incidental. He clearly wasn't just
he grabbed his shoulder and then it came up.
And then it slipped up and he get his face mask. It was the right call, but it just, I guess, unfortunate timing, especially. And then they went right down the field and scored.
Permission to call you out just for a moment. Are you okay with that?
I feel like there's so many times where I haven't brought up your text, but that's okay.
I just want to bring it. I just think that you have a doomsday attitude towards a lot of things. And
it's working out, and I'm going to keep doing it.
That's my point. That's what I wanted to spin zone it, of saying the more doomsday Jake gets through his text, the better the team plays. And I don't know if he's got some kind of telepathy, Stranger Things going on with it.
And this isn't just Texas.
It's the Cowboys. It's every team that we root for. I get a doomsday text from Jake, multiple of them. And I'm like, I don't know if this is a bit at this point, but it's working. And I just kind of
a bit.
I just kind of want you to keep going with it.
It wasn't a bit, like back in the Mississippi State weeks and for the Cowboys back in. And for the Cowboys back several weeks ago. And then it slowly turned into a bit. Where like now it's like I'm willing to put my hard-earned dollars on the
Yeah.
other team
just
to secure a win. I will do whatever it takes to secure a win for my teams.
It's not really calling you out in a bad way. I just wanted people to know, like that's the type of mindset that we have.
And
for our
normally
team.
I'm not this year. Would you agree with this? I've been more doomsday on a consistent basis than ever this year. With both teams.
In general of all around sports, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I've been much more doomsday this year than ever. And at this point, I'm noticing it works out. And I'm going to I'm going to be picking San Jose State to beat Texas next year. Like
as long as it works, as long as it turns into wins, I don't really care what you do, Jake. I'm all for it. I'm like I said, it wasn't really a negative thing I wanted to call you out on. It was more so like, this is what's happening off the screen, off the podcast during the game. It's typically like the first drive of the game, it ends up being a touchdown for the opposing team, and it's this game's over. We're done for. And then it's like, all right, that's what this team needed. They needed a little bit of doubt put in their heads, and now they're going to start playing better. And anytime you've texted me the Dallas, like a Cowboy game is over because they're down by 2 scores, that defense doesn't allow another point. So again,
the defense just goes from looking like the worst defense in the NFL to all of a sudden the other team can't score on them. The Chiefs game, just right after that the pick, and then they score a touchdown, just immediately text you, this is over.
This is over. And then guess what?
In the back of my head, I was still very much locked into that game, not thinking it was over. During this game, I was screaming and like when I told you this game's over, I'm not going to watch it.
I immediately 10-6. It was a very normal score of like, okay, it's a 1 possession game. It's not over. But
yeah, I got doomsday text from you last year while I was in Fayetteville and Texas was up like 10. You're just like, this is a loss.
I hated that.
It happens to
game last year. Yeah.
It happens to everyone at this point. I'm riding it. And the best part is normally when you know it's a bit, it ends. I've known this is a bit for a couple weeks now. And it keeps going. And I'm going to keep riding this bit out until the good Lord above doesn't allow me to anymore.
Yeah. Or these teams are just leading the whole game, and you can't really say doomsday. You can't really have a doomsday text if the teams are leading the whole way.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's where I get a little concerned. What's going to happen?
No, if they're leading, I'll just be like, they're going to choke. What happened when Texas took the lead in this game? You sent me a big text. I'll say the text I sent out. I said, "Oh, sweetheart, you think we're going to win this game?"
Yeah.
When Texas went up like 13-10 or whatever it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I kept riding it. When they committed the face mask, it's just, this is going to be the play. Texas could be at 20. I will find a way.
We've been through enough as sports fans to really never say a win is a win until the game is over.
Oh yeah, I mean the Chiefs game, even when they were kneeling it out, it's just like they're gonna fumble the kneel out. It's Patrick Mahomes. They're gonna find a way.
Like Patrick Mahomes. Yeah. All right. Let's go ahead and wrap this thing up, Jake. It's been a fun week. These are going to be fun podcasts for everybody. So we've had a hell of a time. Kudos to women's basketball. Big kudos to women's basketball. I mean, that is an understated feat that's probably going to go a little unnoticed because it's in the thick of football season. But beating the number 1 and number 2 team in back-to-back days is a big deal. So kudos to the women's basketball team. Kudos to the football team. Kudos to volleyball. We're going to go right into the postseason, riding high with volleyball, and hopefully they can get a national championship, another notch under their belt there. And we'll continue to follow us, like, share, and subscribe. We also have an All In Cowboys podcast. If you are a Cowboys fan, we have an All In Cowboys podcast that we record as well. Weekly episodes come out on that channel as well.
Real quick before we close, I just saw a video posted from in the stadium in DKR after Texas had secured the game. They posted the Mike Elko press conference from back when he first started as a coach, saying that this is the flagship program of Texas, and then zoomed real close into his face and then cut to an edit of Texas winning the game, Arch with the golden hat. So some fun stadium antics from the DKR faithful as well.
Love to see it. And the worst thing A&M could have ever done was agreed to have a trophy for this game, the Lone Star Showdown trophy. that feels like a big miss for the A&M athletic department.
Yeah.
It's going to stay.
That's what the A&M athletic department does. They just miss.
They just
And this year was their golden opportunity to get to an SEC title game. All they had to do was beat a Texas team who had a lot of holes, a lot of issues, and they got in. They got the easiest possible SEC schedule they could have got. Everything broke their way, and they still do what they do best, lose to Texas.
And with that being said, like, share, and subscribe. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, for the last regular season game of the year, a big old fat, juicy, loving hook 'em.
All in Sports Network. We love sports.